There is something deeply beautiful about the quiet signs Allah places in our lives. They are not loud, they do not shake the earth, and they do not force your attention. They come softly, silently, waiting for the right moment for your heart to notice them. One of these signs appears in the form of a simple plant inside your home. Something so ordinary at first glance, yet full of meaning and spiritual reminders the moment you begin paying attention. Maybe you bought this plant without thinking much about it. Maybe someone gifted it to you. Maybe you found it growing somewhere and felt like bringing it home. But once it entered your space, something changed. A small corner of your home felt alive. A strange sense of comfort grew around it. You didn't understand why this green, delicate thing carried so much calmness with it. You just felt it. Sometimes you sit near it and feel a little more at peace. Sometimes you look at it during stressful moments and feel your mind slow down. These reactions are not random. Allah's signs are never random. Allah is Al-Latif, the most subtle. He sends reminders in ways you don't expect. Not every reminder comes through hardship or miracles. Some come through gentle whispers of creation, through things that grow, through things that bring life, through things that symbolically mirror what's happening inside your heart. This plant, the one that stays alive, the one that keeps growing even when you forget to water it, becomes one of those reminders. There are homes where this plant grows almost effortlessly. Days pass, maybe weeks, yet it remains green. Even people who are not good with plants find that this specific one refuses to die. It survives climate changes, room changes, neglect, and inconsistency. And slowly, without you realizing it, you begin to notice something meaningful. Anything that stays alive so consistently reflects something deeper about the space it lives in. A living thing does not thrive where the atmosphere is spiritually dead. Its growth hints at mercy, calmness, and unseen blessings present in your home. The Quran constantly draws our attention to the way plants grow. Allah brings the earth back to life after it dies. He sends down rain that transforms barren land into gardens. He creates diverse plants from a single drop of water. These are not just agricultural lessons, they are spiritual ones. They teach you that Allah can bring your heart back to life even if you feel spiritually dry. They show you that growth is always possible. They remind you that life returns after every season of difficulty. So when you see a plant inside your home thriving, especially when it grows better than expected, it becomes more than a decorative piece. It becomes a message, a symbol, a reflection of inner life. Maybe Allah is showing you that your heart is still alive, that even if you feel overwhelmed, tired, or distant, something in you is still holding on. Something spiritual inside you is still breathing. The plant becomes a mirror for your inner world. A peaceful home is felt, not just seen. When a place is filled with constant anger, sin, conflict, or darkness, even plants struggle to survive. But when a home has moments of peace, remembrance of Allah, moments of gratitude, small acts of kindness, a plant often grows more easily there. Not because of superstition, but because anything alive thrives better in an environment touched by tranquility. Angels love purity, light, and calmness. They stay in homes where people remember Allah, where mercy flows, where hearts soften, and the survival of a plant can be a subtle reflection of that presence. You might notice that the area where the plant sits becomes your quietest corner. It becomes a place where your thoughts settle, where your emotions feel balanced, where you find yourself pausing, breathing, and thinking more deeply. It's not the plant itself giving you peace. It is Allah allowing you to find stillness through something He created. Allah guides through whatever the heart responds to, and sometimes the heart responds best to small natural reminders. Think about how you feel when you water it, when you take a moment to care for it. There's a softness that enters the heart. You become gentler, calmer. You remember that everything alive needs nourishment. Just as this plant needs water, your heart needs remembrance. Just as it needs light, your soul needs Quran. Just as it needs care, your faith needs consistency. The plant silently teaches lessons no lecture can teach. And on days when the plant shows a new leaf, a small, fresh sign of growth, it becomes a symbol of hope. A reminder that even in your own life, growth can happen again. New beginnings can happen again. Allah can open doors again. Even if you feel stuck, even if everything around you feels heavy, The appearance of a new leaf quietly says, Allah has not stopped writing your story. There are moments when you feel disconnected spiritually, times when your heart feels dry, days when you're struggling. In those times, the plant may start to droop too. Not because it senses your emotions, but because neglect affects both physical and spiritual life. When you finally water it, fix its position, give it light, it slowly comes back to life. Just like your heart, just like your faith, just like your connection with Allah, everything revives with attention. You may have wondered, why does this one plant survive in my home when everything else dies? The answer might be far more meaningful than you think. Maybe Allah wants you to notice it. Maybe He wants you to realize that Baraka is still present in your home. Maybe He wants to remind you that something inside you is still spiritually alive, waiting to grow. This plant becomes a quiet sign of Allah's mercy, a sign that growth is still possible, a sign that your heart hasn't been abandoned, a sign that your home is not spiritually empty, and a sign that even when you feel weak, Allah still surrounds you with reminders of His gentleness. There is a certain type of plant that many people keep in their homes without even realizing its deeper meaning. It's a plant that doesn't demand attention, doesn't need expensive care, and doesn't require complicated treatment. It simply lives. It grows quietly, humbly, without asking for much. Some call it the plant of Baraka, not because it has supernatural power, but because its behavior reflects something spiritual happening in the space where it grows. It survives through conditions that normally kill other plants. It stays green even when forgotten. It grows new leaves even when the environment is unstable. It refuses to give up, even when everything else around it seems to struggle. This plant represents something bigger than itself. It mirrors the heart of a believer who continues to hold on to Allah even through difficulty. A believer whose faith may be small, but alive. A believer who may be tired, but still turning back to Allah. A believer who makes mistakes, but never lets go completely. When this plant manages to stay alive inside your home, it becomes a symbol of spiritual resilience. It's a reminder that as long as Allah is with you, you can survive anything that tries to break you. There are people who admit that they don't have a natural talent for keeping plants alive. They forget to water them. They forget to check sunlight. They forget to move them to better places. Yet this one specific plant never dies. Instead, it grows slowly and steadily. It adjusts itself. It bends gently towards the light. It waits patiently for water. It forgives neglect. It shows new growth even after being ignored. And the person wonders, why this one? Why does this plant survive, no matter what? Sometimes the answer is spiritual, not scientific. Sometimes Allah shows you something simple, so you can understand something deep. The way this plant survives resembles the way your heart survives. No matter how many mistakes you make, something in you still turns back to Allah. No matter how much darkness you feel, there is still a tiny light inside you. No matter how overwhelmed you become, a part of your soul still hopes for Allah's mercy. And this plant becomes a symbol of that hope. A reminder that you are not as spiritually dead as you think. A gentle indication that your connection with Allah is not broken. It may be weak, but it is alive. And something alive can always grow again. For some people, the plant begins to grow more quickly at a specific time in their life. Sometimes it happens when they start praying more, sometimes when they begin reading Quran, sometimes when they remove something sinful from their home, and they notice it without noticing it consciously. Something changes around them, and the plant reflects that change. Its leaves become brighter, its branches grow, its roots strengthen, it becomes healthier, and this physical growth mirrors an emotional or spiritual growth inside the person. It's a quiet reminder that Baraka increases where Allah is remembered more. There's also something beautiful about how simple this plant is. It doesn't come with dramatic flowers. It doesn't attract attention with bright colors. It doesn't shout for care. It just exists quietly, just like the best acts of worship. Silent, consistent, humble, the dua whispered at night. The small sadaqah given secretly, the hidden repentance, the consistency of someone who prays even if no one sees them. This plant becomes a physical symbol of those hidden acts, a living example of how something small and humble can carry immense blessings. When someone owns this plant, they often place it in a quiet corner of their home. Sometimes near a window, sometimes near their desk, sometimes near their prayer mat. And as days pass, that spot becomes a place of calmness. The plant absorbs the quietness of the room, and the room absorbs the quietness of the plant. It begins to feel like a safe corner, a place where a person can breathe, where the world slows down a little, where the noise of life doesn't reach as loudly. And when a place in your home feels peaceful like that, it's not random. It is a sign of Baraka filling that area. There are also moments when you find yourself drawn to the plant even without thinking. You sit near it when your mind feels heavy. You glance at it when your heart feels tired. You reach out to touch its leaves when your emotions feel overwhelming. Something about it softens you, calms you, grounds you. And Allah knows exactly how to reach a heart that is hurting. Sometimes the heart doesn't need words, it needs silence. Sometimes the heart doesn't need advice, it needs reflection. Sometimes the heart doesn't need people, it needs a moment alone with creation. This plant becomes a doorway to that moment. Its presence inside your home symbolizes survival. No matter how cold the world becomes, something stays warm. No matter how far you feel from Allah, something still remembers Him. No matter how broken you feel, something inside you is still standing. And when you care for the plant even a little, it rewards you. A drop of water, a bit of sunlight, a simple touch, and suddenly it grows again. This mirrors your spiritual life. Even the smallest act of worship can revive the heart. Even the smallest dhikr can lift your soul. Even the smallest step toward Allah can open a door you never expected. Over time, people begin to notice patterns. A plant that thrives in a peaceful home but struggles in a home filled with constant arguments. A plant that grows in a room where Quran is often recited. A plant that becomes greener in a space where kindness is practiced. These patterns are not magical, they're reflective. Just like breathing feels easier in clean air, growth becomes easier in a clean spiritual space. This plant becomes a reminder that Allah sends signs through simplicity. You don't need storms or miracles to understand His message. Sometimes you just need to observe something small, something living, something green, something that survives regardless of conditions, something that symbolizes inner strength, something that whispers quietly, your heart is still alive. When people hear the idea that a plant might have a connection to angels, they sometimes misunderstand it. They start imagining that the plant has a mystical power, or that it magically calls angels into a home. But the truth is much more beautiful, much more spiritual, and much more in line with how Allah teaches us through signs. The plant itself has no supernatural ability. It is not the plant that attracts angels. What attracts angels is the atmosphere of mercy around it, the state of the home, the purity of the space, and the softness of the heart that cares for it. The plant becomes a symbol, not a source, a reminder, not a reason, a way for your heart to understand something deeper about the unseen world that Allah has created. Angels are beings of pure light. They do not enter places filled with filth, chaos, constant sin, or environments where Allah's remembrance is absent. They gravitate toward what Allah loves. They surround people whose hearts are sincere. They visit homes where Quran is recited, where the name of Allah is mentioned, where kindness is practiced, and where purity is valued. So when a plant thrives in such a home, it doesn't mean the plant brought angels, it means the home already had an atmosphere that angels feel comfortable in. The plant becomes a reflection of that unseen peace. There are homes where everything feels heavy, arguments happen constantly, negativity hangs in the air, something feels spiritually off. In such an environment, even plants struggle. They dry quickly. Their roots weaken. Their leaves become dull, not because of superstition, but because a stressed environment affects everything, even the simplest forms of life. On the other hand, there are homes where people make sincere dua, where someone wakes up for fajr, where someone gives a little charity, where someone quietly makes dhikr. Even if the home is small, even if life is imperfect, even if the people are struggling, such homes still carry a special type of tranquility, and in these homes plants grow in ways that don't logically make sense. You begin to notice that the plant grows faster in some rooms than others. The place where you pray feels calmer. The corner where you read Quran feels lighter. Sometimes you place the plant there by accident, sometimes by intuition, but after some time you see something. The plant responds. Its leaves become stronger, its color becomes deeper, its growth becomes quicker, and you start to understand that the plant is reacting to the atmosphere, the same way your heart reacts to spiritual surroundings. Angels descend in places filled with mercy. Allah mentions in the Quran that angels bring calmness, reassurance, strength, and protection. They descend when believers remember Allah. They stand with people during moments of fear. They surround gatherings of knowledge and dhikr. Imagine then the type of peace that settles in a room where angels regularly visit. It becomes a place of emotional healing, a place where your chest feels lighter, a place where your thoughts become clear, a place where you feel closer to Allah without even trying. And the plant growing in that environment becomes a quiet witness to all of this. People often underestimate how much their emotional state affects the atmosphere of their home. A heart filled with constant anger creates tension that even plants feel. A heart filled with gratitude spreads a type of energy that brings softness into the space. When someone makes sincere du'a in a room, that moment leaves an imprint of peace. When someone cries to Allah in the quiet of night, that corner becomes spiritually charged in a way that words cannot describe. When someone repents, the space feels cleaner. And because angels love purity, they stay where hearts are humble. So the plant grows where mercy stays. It thrives where angels pass. It strengthens where Quran flows. It becomes greener where dhikr softens the air. It becomes a symbol of spiritual life happening around you. And this symbol is important because sometimes people forget how connected the physical world is to the spiritual world. We separate them in our minds, but Allah created everything with purpose. The unseen affects the seen. The seen reflects the unseen. A peaceful heart creates a peaceful home. A peaceful home creates a place where angels feel welcome. And a place where angels feel welcome becomes a place where even a small plant finds it easy to thrive. Someone might look at the plant and say, "It's just a plant," but the believer sees further. The believer sees lessons in creation, signs in nature, messages in growth. The believer sees how something simple can carry a deeper meaning, how something quiet can reflect something divine, how something delicate can hint at the presence of Allah's mercy. You might find that when you sit next to the plant, your thoughts become softer, your chest opens slightly, your worries feel lighter. It's not the plant fixing your emotions, it's the tranquility of the space working on your heart. That tranquility exists because of Allah's mercy, and Allah's mercy is often accompanied by angels. The plant becomes part of that environment, absorbing the peace and reflecting it back. There are moments when you'll notice that the plant seems to grow more after you've had a spiritually powerful day. Maybe you prayed on time that day. Maybe you cried in dua. Maybe you gave charity. Maybe you forgave someone you were holding a grudge against. Maybe you cleared your space from something haram. These actions bring angels closer. And where angels come, peace follows. And where peace follows, life grows more easily. People sometimes speak about how the air in a certain room feels different, how the atmosphere feels light, how something feels comfortable when they sit in a specific corner. They don't always realize that this may be the place where Allah's mercy rests most often. And this is also where the plant grows strongest. It's not superstition, it's not exaggeration, it is simply the natural harmony between spiritual purity and physical life. So when you see this plant thriving, understand it for what it truly is. Not a magical object, but a reflection of a home touched by mercy. Not a source of angelic presence, but a witness to it. Not a cause of barakah, but a sign that barakah already exists. It quietly tells you that your home may not be perfect, your life may not be easy, and your heart may not be fully healed, but somewhere, somehow, Allah's mercy is still visiting you. When a plant thrives in a place where everything else seems to struggle, there is something deeply symbolic in that moment. It is as if Allah is teaching you that barakah, blessing, can settle anywhere He chooses, even in the most unlikely of spaces. You might walk past this plant every day and not think twice about it, but when you finally pause and notice its quiet strength, its steady growth, its ability to flourish even when ignored or forgotten, something inside you softens, because in that moment the plant becomes a mirror, reflecting the state of your own heart. Maybe you too are surviving something silently. Maybe you too are holding on in a place that feels dry, harsh, or lonely. And seeing that plant reminds you that Allah can send His mercy in ways that look small on the outside, but are powerful on the inside. Baraka is not always loud. It doesn't always come with a sudden miracle or a dramatic sign. Sometimes Baraka comes quietly, like a plant that keeps growing even when no one is watering it. You might look at it and think, how is this even alive? And that question is exactly the lesson. It is alive because Allah is sustaining it. It is alive because everything in creation is held by Him, fed by Him, watched by Him. When you understand this, you stop relying only on the visible causes around you. You start realizing that sometimes the invisible help of Allah is far more powerful than anything you can see with your eyes. And this is where the spiritual meaning becomes even stronger. A plant that grows with unusual strength has always been seen by scholars, poets, and believers as a symbol of the heart that carries light. A heart that remembers Allah even if it's surrounded by difficulty. A heart that keeps dhikr alive even in environments that pull it down. A heart that blooms with patience when others expect it to collapse. That is the kind of heart the angels love to visit. Because angels are drawn to places where Allah is remembered, where humility settles, where gratitude takes root, and where the soul keeps striving even in silence. So when you see a plant that grows in a place where it shouldn't survive, let it remind you that angels visit homes where a similar type of resilience exists. Spiritual resilience, emotional resilience, the resilience of a believer who still turns to Allah even in the darkest moment. And perhaps the plant appears in your life as a reminder that you too can revive, no matter how long you have felt spiritually dry, no matter how disconnected you feel. One sincere moment of turning back to Allah can bring life into you the same way. One drop of water revives a dying leaf. Allah does not abandon a heart that wants Him. Even if you have made mistakes, even if you have distanced yourself, even if you've allowed your soul to weaken, Allah can restore you. The same Lord who brings plants back to life after they wither is the one who can bring your heart back to life after sin, after sadness, after neglect, or after loss. The plant is not just a decoration, it is a silent teacher placed by Allah in your environment, teaching you that hope can return, healing can return, and barakah can return. Every plant that grows unexpectedly reminds you of the unseen world. It reminds you that life is always returning, even when you think everything is over. And perhaps Allah allowed this plant to survive simply so you could see a sign of His mercy, a reminder that nothing is too lost, too broken, or too far gone for Him to restore. Because barakah does not depend on perfect conditions, it depends on the one who gives it. The plant teaches you that if Allah decides to place light into something, no darkness can take it away. If He decides to place growth into something, no obstacle can stop it. And if He decides to place barakah in your home, your efforts, your wealth, your heart, or your relationships, then no one on earth can remove it. This is why some plants feel blessed to people. Not literally, but symbolically. They remind you that angels come to places where Allah is remembered. And a home that carries remembrance, gratitude, patience, mercy, and honesty becomes a home where barakah settles, where the unseen help of Allah flows, where peace becomes a guest, and where the heart feels lighter the moment you step inside. Sometimes the plant is simply a plant, but sometimes Allah uses it as a message for the one who pays attention. A message that says, I can make anything grow, I can make anything return to life, and if I can do that for a plant, then imagine what I can do for you. There comes a moment when you look at this simple plant and realize it has been trying to tell you something about your own life all along. You begin to understand that Allah sends reminders in ways you never expect, not always through a lecture, not always through a verse you hear at the perfect time, not always through a person giving you advice. Sometimes the reminder comes through something silent, something that doesn't speak, doesn't move, doesn't ask for anything, yet holds a wisdom you can feel without words. A plant that refuses to die despite harsh conditions, a plant that grows even when neglected, a plant that survives storms and still stands upright, becomes a reflection of the believer's journey. And without realizing it, you start seeing your own story inside its leaves. Maybe you too have gone through periods where life felt heavy, where you felt forgotten, where your efforts were unseen. Maybe you carried pain quietly, without complaining, without showing anyone what you were going through. Yet somehow, through all of that, you're still here, still holding on, still trying, still believing, even if your faith sometimes feels like a small, fragile leaf. And that is exactly where the beauty lies. Allah does not look for perfection. He looks for sincerity. He looks for that tiny spark inside your heart that still turns to Him, even after everything you have been through. And just like the plant grows, even if it starts with a tiny seed, Allah allows your heart to grow, even if the beginning of your journey is small, weak, or hesitant. This is why the plant becomes such a powerful symbol. When you see it thriving in silence, you are reminded that not every blessing makes noise. Some blessings arrive in the form of calmness after pain. Some blessings arrive in the form of strength you didn't know you had. Some blessings arrive in the form of people who come into your life at the right moment. And some blessings arrive in the form of clarity, the ability to finally understand what Allah has been trying to show you. A plant that grows unexpectedly might be Allah's way of telling you that He is still sending barakah into your life, even in areas where you had given up hope. And if a plant attracts your attention in a way it never did before, maybe it is because Allah is preparing your heart to receive something new, something better, something more meaningful. Angels visit the hearts that are open to guidance, the homes where Allah is remembered, the lives where intentions are pure. When you cleanse your heart, when you soften your character, when you forgive others even if they don't deserve it, when you talk to Allah in moments nobody sees, you become the kind of person Baraka gravitates toward. Just like the plant grows toward sunlight even in darkness, your heart grows toward Allah even in difficult times. And maybe the real message behind the plant is not about the plant at all. Maybe it's about you, about your journey, about your healing, about your relationship with Allah that needs gentle attention like soil waiting for water. When you care for your soul, the way you care for your plants, removing what harms it, feeding it with what benefits it, giving it time, patience, and kindness, you begin to feel a shift. Your heart becomes lighter, your mind becomes calmer, your home becomes a place where peace settles, and you start noticing small improvements that slowly grow into big changes. In the end, the plant is a reminder that Allah can place blessings in the quietest corners of your life. A reminder that angels come to places where hearts are sincere and tongues remember Him. A reminder that growth is always possible no matter how long you have felt stuck. And a reminder that even in silence, Allah is sending signs that guide you, protect you, heal you, and bring you closer to Him. All you have to do is pause, look deeply, and allow your heart to notice what your eyes once ignored.